Whew, I'm out of breath from running all those laps. But we are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Dadgummit. Today is Sunday, December the 1st, folks. Welcome to the month of December. It's my birthday month. It's the month of Christmas. It's the month of Hanukkah. It's the month of New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I was going to say New Year's Eve, not New Year's Day.
Yeah. And we are, we're about 24 hours after Auburn has ended their season, the second under Hugh Freeze, with a 28-14 loss to in-state rival Alabama, ending the Tigers season with a 5-7 record. We're going to talk about that game, I'm sure. I'm sure callers are going to have some comments, some questions. We'll get to all of that. We also have the transfer portal. We have a lot of declarations, a lot of announcing their intentions to transfer. We'll talk about that as well and take all the calls and questions that you can give us. 701-779-9585. Joining me as always, 100% of the time when they're here. Absolutely. Mr. Cole Pinkston and Sir Alan Head. How about you, fellas?
How about you? I was counting your laps. I think you did almost 1,000, right?
I tell you, man, I'm fit, son. I am fit.
Those transfer portal laps.
You're right, Cole.
There you
go. As we said earlier, Auburn's season has come to a merciful end with a 2-touchdown loss to Alabama, and it was very frustrating to watch, fellas, because here's why. You don't go on the road, force 4 turnovers and lose by 2 touchdowns. That was very disappointing to see. But the offense, can move the ball between the 20s and hit a brick wall once they got down there again. But quick thoughts on the game, Alan. Jump in here, big dog.
I mean, you talked about it. And Alabama, in my opinion, just the more talented team, right? And sure. I think you saw that across the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball at various times. But realistically, when Alabama needed it, specifically on offense, they were able to get those critical yards that they had to get to continue drives and keep Auburn's offense off the field. And unfortunately, like you talked about, Jeffrey, in those critical situations, specifically in the red zone, whether it was play call, lack of execution, just getting beat off the ball, there were a litany of different things that happened within the red zone to make it basically a house of horrors for Auburn. So to have it 4 times in the red zone, come away with 6 points in the first half, that told me really all I needed to know moving into the second half, because if they were unable to capitalize like they did in the first, it was going to get away from them. And that's exactly what took shape. So it's not the result that any Auburn fan wanted. I think if you took an educated viewpoint going into this, or a realistic viewpoint, you knew Alabama was the more talented team. And I thought, while Auburn was better coached at certain facets, and I want to give Dre all the credit in the world. That kid played hard from start to finish, right?
Yes.
Start to finish, easily our best transfer portal acquisition in the 2 years that Hugh Freeze has been here. And there have been some good ones.
Sure.
Jalen McLeod, handful of others. But Dre's the best one. He played like it. Really kind of kept Auburn in it at times, being able to make plays, him and Cam Coleman both. So if you're looking for encouragement, that was there. But realistically, just didn't have enough. Just didn't have enough all the way around.
Cole, some things that were disappointing for you to see, maybe encouraged to see. Thoughts?
Well, it's just disappointing that you ended it that way, because you had such a big week last week when you beat A&M. And I think, I don't know if it was on this show or another show, but we talked about this. We were like, listen, if Hugh Freeze can just find a win out of A&M and Bama, at least,
sure,
right, you can garner just a little bit of momentum. And now, how the fan base is. They can't take that. And I get it. It's the same. It's a broken record. It's the same thing. It's unfortunate. You just can't dig out of the hole you're in. And I hate that. I hate to see it. I don't like covering it that way. I want it to be more positive, but that's where it's at right now. And going into the off season, you got to finish strong with recruiting. That's the main thing to worry about now.
Sure.
Justin and I talked about this earlier today. It's look, you absolutely have to retoil your entire staff, your entire roster every offseason. You could go back and go, well, Auburn showed progress on the way out, so they're going to be good next year. Let's bump them up in the preseason. No, you're going to see a totally different team. It could be worse. It could be better. It's not going to be what you see as it ended. I mean, it's going to look so much different.
Now, good point.
I don't know if the play caller is going to change. I don't know about all that. This is how I ended our show with Justin earlier. I don't care. I don't care what they do with that. This is year 3. It's do or die.
That's right.
You better have a good offseason. You better come out and have a better season than what you just had, or it's over. That's what I love about year 3.
Me too, big dog. I told my dad the same thing. I'm so happy that we're at that point where there are no excuses. This is time, and people will be held accountable.
And I'm not
for the
I'm not
results on the field.
I'm not in the boat that Freeze is always making excuses for everybody. I think he's made a few, but nothing crazy, in my opinion. Okay. But there's no excuses anymore. If you want to make them, you don't have much.
And listen, those excuses are mine. Like I was giving him to year 3 because I didn't expect him to do anything to the first 2 years. I really didn't. I didn't expect regression in the win totals in year 2. I didn't. But I wasn't. I was fine with whatever. I was somewhat encouraged in year 2. Besides Georgia, Bama, your 14-point loss. That's your 2 touchdown. Most of them were right in there, competitive, whatever. But next year, it's time. It's holding the ass to the fire.
Well, statistically, you improved in year 2, right? Peyton Thorne's yards went up, touchdowns went up, interceptions went down. Jarquez Hunter, yards went up, touchdowns went up. Passing game completely. Receivers, production went up. Yep. Win total went down. Yeah. Probably because turnovers went up, if I had to guess, particularly in the early part of the season, and then just not being able to make, be able to execute on critical downs and critical situations realistically. And that is the hallmark of a young team. And so hopefully that improves year over year. I do think there needs to be a little bit of churn on the staff. I do. I saw too many things. I never want to attack scheme because coaches know more than me on scheme. Okay. There's not one person in that building that doesn't know more football than me. But when you see some of the football IQ on tape, that's what gets you. When you see a guy opening kickoff and the ball sailing out of bounds and yet they still catch it, and try to return it. I mean, that would have gone out at the 35, but you catch it and you get tackled at the 20. You see a halfback pass called, and then in your words as the head coach, you say, well, we didn't coach him well enough on that. Well, why call that? Why is that in the playbook? In that kind of a game, right? And that's football IQ, and that's where it's coaching teaching, where things have to be tightened up to a degree.
Cheers.
Great point. Great point. You think it is interesting? The win total went down by 1. Auburn won 6 games in year 1 with Freeze. They won 5 this year. But you did get a win over a top 15 team. That was something that is very positive. I don't know if you would call it the signature win. It is the signature win if you Freeze. Is it, is that enough to give you a little bit more, I don't know, leeway going into the offseason? I don't know. We talked about it might be. Now you're sitting here going, I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, dude, if they were 4-8 with –
it gives him so much more bounce at 5.
It does. It does make it a little bit easier to swallow, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it helps. It helps. Yeah. It was a big win. You put 43 on the board at home, got the crowd rushing the field. People remember that. It hurts. You don't think about it right now because of what just happened with Alabama. And once again, if Alabama had just blown Auburn out of the water, it might be a little different. It's the fact that you're in the game, 4 turnovers you caused. Yeah. You had all these opportunities to win the game again, and it's the same result. It's got everybody uneasy, and I don't blame anyone for that.
Sure. I mean, the number of 1-score games, close games, right? Like, okay, so we talk about Cal, 1-score game. Arkansas should have been a 1-score game. You were at 1-score game against Oklahoma. Basically a 1-score game against Vanderbilt. You win 2 of those, you're at 7-5. And how much better does this season float by comparison to 5-7?
Might even throw Missouri in there as well.
Yeah. Right. In Missouri, 1-score game.
And listen, everybody, a lot of people, the majority, I would say, think, hey, you make the right change at quarterback and those turn around for you. Well, Maybe you're right. We're about to find out. I promise you that.
I think it's more than quarter. I just do. And it's
I
not
do too, but
I don't think Hugh Freeze is fundamentally flawed. I don't agree with that at all. But I do think there needs to be some churn to a degree to bring some more accountability in the program from certain things that are, transpiring to allow a lapse of football IQ on display in certain moments like that.
Let's get to some phone calls. Let's get to the phone line. Before we do, if you're in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, you're looking for some real estate help, looking for to buy a new house, maybe looking for an investment property, maybe looking to change things up, flip sides of town, come on over to the north side, fellas. Look no further for the help you need with Jessica Andrus with the Talons Group. 334-704-4442. Man, there's a lot of fours, but don't be misleading. She's a freaking 5-star realtor. Just ask Mr. Allen Head. He'll tell you. He don't lie. He's an honest fella. Give her a call, folks. Jessica Andrus with the Talons Group, 334-704-4442. And as always, tell her we sent you. All right, Zach in the back who came to the front, get us on the horn with somebody. Anybody.
So we're going to have to bring back the clock tonight.
Okay.
Callers again. So bringing back the 1 minute, maybe 1:30 minute, like maybe a minute and a half clock.
Just get to your point or question.
But we know where we're starting. Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama, you're live.
Who is it?
Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama.
Hey about you, Kevin.
And I think with next season we will go all the way.
Okay.
I love it.
you can't
The
keep
eternal
Kevin.
optimist. No, you can't. Kevin's that Chumbawamba song back in the day. I get knocked
That's
down.
right.
Somebody actually said Kevin's calling in and saying we're going 12-0 next year. That's exactly what happened.
And Cam Coleman did good.
Yes,
Cam
he
Coleman did great.
did. Yeah, he did.
I would have liked to have seen him involved earlier. I'm sorry, Kevin. I was talking over you, buddy. What'd you say?
Cam Coleman did good.
He did very well. Very well. Who was somebody else, Kevin, that really stood out to you this year? Who were a couple of guys that you just really liked?
Number 5.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's good.
Keandre Lambert Smith, also known as Dre, also known as KLS.
Lamar Alford.
The latest on Naeem Alford. It's a great question, Kevin. He is absolutely the most prestigious target left on the board, the 5-star cornerback from Birmingham. Kevin, I will say this. He went to Ohio State, where he is committed to. He went there this weekend, and I haven't heard a peep since. I think unless somebody told Allen, unless y'all have heard differently, Auburn still feels good.
Yeah.
I was going to put a note up on the board, but it would have been the same. I mean, it's the same. I'm getting the same message. I put it that way. If anything, more confidence.
We will get him.
You're not alone, Kevin. I honestly, at this point, buddy, I would be more surprised if he didn't sign with Auburn than if he did.
How about Deuce Knight?
Very positive news. Very positive news on Deuce from what I've heard. He went to Ole Miss Friday. It's kind of up in the air as to how long he stayed. Ole Miss people said he stayed 12 hours. I think Steve Wiltfong said he was still there Saturday morning. Either way, regardless, Auburn still feels very good about it. I had a note up on the corner today. Jamichael Garrett, also a close friend of Deuce, said Auburn fans have nothing to worry about. So we'll take him at his word.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to find out how well this coaching staff reads the room on that recruitment, right? Because there is a little bit of smoke from the Ole Miss side where they've alluded to the fact that they still think they're in it. And everybody I've talked to from the Auburn side thinks they have nothing. I mean, I think they're keeping an eye on it, but they're not overly concerned at this point. Would you guys agree with that?
I completely agree.
Well, I mean, look, this is where we have to realize that they're playing a different game this time around. Now you've got more negative smoke out there. You weren't dealing with that the first time. Okay. So they may feel confident. I mean, look, I checked with several sources about Tavares Dice. Very confident. No worries.
And then he flipped.
Locked in. On Wednesday, Cole, I sent you the screenshot. TJ is locked in. That was Wednesday.
That's why you have to be, you know, we're going to give you the intel, but we also need to give our opinion on it because.
Hey, Jeffrey,
Yes, sir, buddy.
will you pray for my mom? She's in the hospital.
Absolutely, buddy. Not only will I pray for her, Kevin, but I'll send out some prayer requests for you on behalf of the Auburn Live family.
Absolutely, Kevin.
Because she's having a surgery, major surgery.
Oh, goodness. Yes, sir, Kevin. Absolutely put her on the prayer list and send out some requests from the prayer warriors of the Auburn Live family.
Absolutely.
Hey, Kevin.
How's Brian Baby doing?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Brian Batty.
Oh.
Brian Baby doing?
He made it out to Auburn. Surprised the team, Kevin. I'm sure you saw that video, and then he made it to the game. So that was all good to see. Very good to see there.
Kevin, we'll
the
basketball team. Ooh,
on fire,
man. They're pretty good.
I would go beyond the scope of pretty good.
Are they elite?
Yeah,
possibly. It's too early to put elite, but possibly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fun. That's fun to hear. Hey, Kevin, appreciate you calling in, big dog. We'll look for you next week. All right, we'll definitely be praying for your mom and anybody out there. If praying is your thing, put her on your list.
5810. You're live. I believe we got Anthony from Montgomery here.
Fellow.
Oh, fellow.
What's
How about
up,
you,
buddy?
Anthony?
Oh, Smitty.
How y'all doing tonight?
You know,
Pretty good. Man.
It's a
kind
fair
of wild.
question.
Kind of wild right now.
Is there some relief amongst the Auburn family as well as us that the season's over with?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the game was fitting the way it ended. I mean,
Yeah.
we got the field on third down, and we moved the ball up and down the field. They get in the red zone and forget how to play football. So I mean, it was a fitting end to the season. So I mean, the way the game played out, I mean, it was like how the last chapter in this crazy season, how it should have played out. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. No, I mean, Auburn didn't get blown out at all this year, not once. That's not something that's happening with this team. They're good enough to be in every game. I'd say they were in this game, probably not in the fourth quarter this time, but had a chance to make it a one-possession game, Anthony. They were right there.
Anthony, you love that double pass.
Say it again. I missed. I'm sorry.
You love that double pass.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I hate the timing of it. Like coming out of timeout, like
Yes.
it looks tricky when you come straight to that formation. So I mean, I think it was dumb for Jarquez not to know. Like Hugh just needs to shut up sometimes, man. You ain't got to tell the truth. Just be like, it's my fault and keep moving. I like.
Yes, Anthony. Yes.
I think that's fair.
If nothing else, wouldn't you like him to say, listen, I ain't watched the film yet?
Hey, I want to get to my question because I know I'm on a time limit. So, with the transfer portal coming up, we're getting a quarterback. Everybody like, I'm going to do what it takes to get the top guy. My thing is, I look around the nation, I don't see $1 million quarterback. So, without giving me a name, do y'all think it's a guy there that's worth $1 million that can write a blank check and be like, come to Auburn? Because I don't see one. I don't see a Cam Ward from last year. That's all I got. And y'all have a good night. I don't want to hold up the call line.
Appreciate you, Anthony. Always a pleasure to have you on. Is there a quarterback, Alan?
Is there a quarterback Cam Ward level? No. I don't see one of those yet in the transfer portal. Now, these are just names that, or I guess I'm assessing that off of names that we've heard that might be rumored to entering the portal. I'm not going to get into those right now. When they actually enter, we'll discuss it, right? But
Sure.
As far as the rumored candidates at this point, I don't see anybody that has the production or the overall arm talent of a Cam Ward right now. But what I do see are several pieces that raise the floor of your quarterback room significantly and can put you in that 7, 8, possibly even 9 win range, which to me is what is going to breathe life into the longevity of your program, right? If you can get beyond year 3, now all of this talent that you've collected, should you keep this class intact and you're able to continue to add in the next class, you're putting that blue chip ratio now at a championship level point. you have accumulated enough talent that you're on par, and you're no longer looking at that 7, 8, 9 as the barometer for your level of success. You're transcending that. So I do think, regardless of, I mean, it just kind of the market demands what the market demands, right? You know, if you want to get better at the quarterback position, you're going to have to pay what it's going to cost to get somebody there. And I think right now it is too invaluable to Hugh Freeze to improve that room to not add someone. I don't think you can lean into just Walker White and Deuce Knight and think you're going to get by, because to me, that's a recipe for another 5-7. And if Hugh Freeze goes 5-7, I can't speak with any conviction that he would be here this time next year.
From I tell you, from reading the situation, I really do think that there are a lot of people involved who want Freeze to work out at Auburn. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I do. I feel that from a money sense. I feel that from a backing sense.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look, Auburn's bringing in a roster it hadn't had in a long time. I mean, they're going to have really, really nice pieces next year. They're going to hit on the portal again. I mean, you know, I feel like they hit – Justin and I talked about this, the portal hit rate. It hovered around 50% in this one based on our calculation of it. But the ones you hit on were really, really good. Nice pieces. Didn't help you win more, but we're good. You're going in the right direction there, I think. You got to do better offensive line. You got to get some, you know, a couple other pieces that you didn't hit on. But bottom line here is I know what Free said last year about, you know, he's kind of I don't know how I feel about this getting in the money game with quarterbacks. From me reading the situation, I don't think that matters. I think the decision is made to go get somebody.
Yes.
And spend the money.
Yeah, bring me somebody. Tell me how to spell their name while I'll fill out this check.
Pretty much.
Hey, before we get to the next call, real quick, man, I had a couple of people asking about my Q-Zip that I'm sporting tonight. If you're a friend of the show, you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking that Roback. Only one way to describe it, folks. Best fit, best feel. Only one way to do it. Although there's two. For those who aren't familiar with Roback, they're completely changing the game with incredibly comfortable activewear. Roback just released their new licensed game day collection. Actually, they didn't just release it. They have been released. Clean hoodie, Q-zip designs for some of your favorite schools, including Auburn. Definitely worth checking out. Nobody else on the market is pairing these level of custom designs with this quality of activewear. They even have some shorts, folks. Perfect pairing to put up with your Q-zips, comfortable, have an elastic waistband, and great fabric that is made to have the appearance of a nice short, but the comfort of an athletic short. Also getting in the NIL charge. We've got some quarterbacks, some players, Caleb Downs, Quinn Ewers, among others that are becoming the go-to brand for college athletes. Use the promo code Auburn20, that's Auburn20 on Roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers. That's RHOBACK.com, 20% off on all performance polos, shorts, and more with the code Auburn20. Appreciate Roback sponsoring the show. All right, Zach, keep us going, big dog.
0548. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey guys, good happy Sunday evening. First time calling in. Listen to you guys every week, but I'm Kyle Hatcher on the board out of Gardendale, Alabama.
Nice.
World. Kyle Hatcher, yeah.
Really value Jaylee, not saying we don't value you, but love Alan and Cole's insight into the game. And I was at the stadium yesterday, and I don't know, Cole, if you got to be there for the game or not, but man, I don't know how many times we had to see it this year. And just, you know, you just look at teams when they get up close to the line of scrimmage. It's like freeze the staff on offense. They just cannot adjust to it. It's unbelievable. And one of the guys I love to watch a ton in the NFL is McVay. And McVay talks about all the time that whole tree of that Shanahan tree from you know, Mike down to Kyle to McVay, all those guys. They talk about when teams do that, you got to bunch the formation. You got to make them. You got to dictate to them what's going to happen. And we consistently stay spread out in those kinds of scenarios. And those guys, we can't adjust to it. And it just, you would think, as smart as Hugh Freeze is, I'm not here to beat the guy up. I'm just saying, like, you would think at some point we can evaluate ourselves well enough to say keeping it spread out and asking Peyton Thorne to win the game is not how we win the game. Like, there's some common sense there that has to come on at some point. And I guess that's my biggest frustration this year. It's like we all knew at some point Peyton Thorne is what he is.
Right.
And there's other issues outside of Peyton. But my God, why can this coaching staff not help these boys in some of these games, man? It's just one of those things for me. It's just a pet peeve. I love ball. I love the insight you guys do. The film room is my favorite thing every week. And I know it's been a crappy season, but you guys have been fantastic and love the coverage. And so my question to you guys, and me ranting there, and I apologize for not giving a minute to breathe for you guys to talk. But my question, and I'll hop off. Do you guys think that this staff, this offensive staff in particular, has the ability to adjust and to create a sense of winning football versus any opponent, much less the big game opponents? And I'll hang up. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a Merry Christmas and War Eagle always.
Merry Christmas to you, Kyle. War Eagle. Great call. Great question. Fellas, y'all know more about it than I do. Can this coaching staff make adjustments?
Sure. Yeah. You saw it live in action against A&M. I think they can make adjustments.
Especially on defense, right?
Well, specifically on defense for sure. DJ's, he's been in his bag multiple times this year, but I think Kyle was speaking more to the offensive side. And yes, I do believe they can make adjustments. Are they hamstrung a little bit by maybe some of their personnel at times? Yes. Is Freeze ever going to get into condensed sets like the Shanahan group? Probably not. That's just not necessarily his forte. He's very comfortable in power spread formations, and that's really kind of what, in the RPO game and the spread game where he kind of developed his niche within college football. And I don't necessarily think he's going to veer out of that all that much. I don't think you're ever going to see Hugh Freeze love to collect and play in 13 personnel. That's just not who he is. Could they have done things a little bit differently? Yeah, I think they could have leaned into the running game significantly more to start the season and then kind of grown the passing game from there, specifically off the play action shots. I felt like there was some resistance to that, and they got a little bit more into the drop back game early on in the season. You saw less of that as the year went on. The red zone issues, I think some of that is your limitations on the offensive line. I'm with Cole where I feel like you valued some potential in Percy Miller and it didn't pay off. And I think when they go into the portal this time, you need to value production over potential, specifically on the offensive line. You need guys that are experienced and battle tested that you can roll out up front until some of those young pieces that I actually like. I mean, I really do think that TJ has a very bright future, and some of those other guys that are on the bench right now, but they still need more time to grow and develop. But you need to find some really high floor pieces at guard and tackle to be able to give your offense some time. But yes, I do think they can adjust, and they've made some nuanced changes and done some different things, not to the degree I think anybody wanted, but as the personnel continues to grow, I think you'll see more of that.
I think they're good play callers and schemers. I really do. I think they can scheme things up really well. I think a lot of times there were things schemed up that were unable to be executed. And so I look back at that and go, all right, how much emphasis are you putting in the scheme and how much emphasis are you putting into the execution part of it, the fundamental part of it? That's where I start to question it a little bit. But here's the bottom line. And it does not matter if you have, Brett Favre at quarterback. If Brett Favre and Hugh Freeze are not on the same page, it's not going to work in this offense. It's very quarterback dependent. Okay. RPO, everything goes through the quarterback. They make, it's almost like, look, I trust you. You've done this in practice. You've done it enough. You make the call here, hand it off or throw it if you think you got it. Very quarterback dependent. Well, there was a huge disconnect between Hugh Freeze and Peyton Thorne. How does anybody expect that to work? That's why I use the phrase lacks common sense sometimes. There was just things, and that seems like a shot, and I don't mean it to be, but it's just, I have to question a lot with this offense and this system. I think he's very system dependent. it's hard for him to pull out of that system and go, okay, we're running the ball well. Let's turn the RPO off. let's start running it. It was just like it was really difficult for him to step out of that system at times and go, this is what we were doing really well. Let's stick with that. That was my biggest issue, and that's why it looks like adjustments are really hard for them. I'm telling you guys, they schemed it up nice a lot of the time. I could rattle off so many plays where they did that, ones that worked and ones that didn't work. I mean, the A&M, the inside and then outside release for Cam Cohen, where Peyton, all he had to do was drop it into him. He's wide open.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And it's off of an RPO. Like, that's genius play calling. So that's not the issue, but I don't want to ramble too much on that. That was a good question, Kyle. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
0553. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, gentlemen, it's Cole from Noonan. How y'all doing?
How about you, Cole?
What's up, Cole?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you guys for your coverage in this abomination of a season. You did a great job and kept things lively in the midst of some really, really bad football. So thank you for everything y'all do. And thanks in advance for all the answers that y'all will give to, questions about Deuce Knight and Elijah Melendez and Naeem Alford between now and Wednesday.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well,
so far, so good, man.
Man, I'm prayerful, man. We need it. We need a good day Wednesday. But listen, my thing is, now that this season's over, and look, I'm disappointed in the Iron Bowl. It sucks to lose to Bama like that. I hate that program and everything that they are. And I hate to see us get punched in the mouth, man. We look flat yesterday. And Jeffrey, I really don't have a problem with what Riddick said. I have a problem with our team didn't come ready to back it up. And that pisses me off. We played flat for an Iron Bowl. But that's done. And everything that we saw this season, everything that we've seen from Hugh Freeze, it's done. These last 2 years have been about the future. But the future is now.
There you go.
Everything he does.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, the era of patience is over. It's all about right now. Everything he does. I hope we have a great signing day Wednesday. But that ain't what this is about. I hope we have a great transfer portal cycle, but that ain't what this is about. From here on out is about the on-field product of Auburn football, and we've got to win. And so it's exciting going into next season. It's not about the future; it's about right now. And every game we play is what you will judge Hugh Freeze on. We can talk all day long about whether he should have stuck with Peyton Thorne, but that's in the rear view. We can talk about the Jarquez Hunter throwing the pass. That's a ridiculous play call, but that's in the rear view. It doesn't matter anymore.
I like it.
The thing from here on out is, can Auburn win on Saturdays? And that starts with the 2025 season. So I hope for a great Wednesday. I hope for a great portal cycle, but it all comes down to, can we win football games? And that is the sole thing that Hugh Freeze will be judged on in year 3. And I'm looking forward to some good football to back that up. And so I'll close with one more question for you guys. Outside of quarterback, which we need a blank check to go get the best dude we can go get.
Yep.
What position do you think we should allocate the most money for? Go get in the portal. You guys, appreciate it.
Cole, fantastic call. First and foremost, the future is now, and I think that sums up kind of my thoughts on Hugh Freeze's tenure at Auburn. It's now. They've been playing for the future. It's over. It's time to play for now. All right, Alan. What's and we're going to get some Cole in here as well. Besides quarterback, most important integral part of this transfer portal season for Auburn.
Line of scrimmage.
Do you have a preference on either side of the ball?
Yeah, offensive line. I like more the young talent on the defensive line right now. So I think offensive line, it's more paramount to be able to add both a guard and tackle. I think you need one of each at a minimum. And depending on how the high school cycle ends, maybe one more, maybe a guy that's a younger guy that's hitting the portal that you can bring in as a developmental guy. So we'll see how the high school cycle ends. But as of today, I think you need a starting tackle and a starting guard out of the transfer portal, or at least somebody that's ready to compete to be the starter.
Cole, do you echo that?
OT,
Yep.
baby.
Yeah, you don't mean overtime.
Negative.
I don't mean overtime.
And you don't mean off topic.
I don't mean off topic. I mean offensive tackle.
Yes.
A true offensive tackle, a guy that's played a lot of football, can plug and play at your left tackle position. I think there's some moves to be made with offensive line. Who do you bring back? Jeremiah Wright's got another year. Dylan Wade's got another one. If you can get them back, I think that would be good. You'd want both of those back, but you want a true left tackle to plug in there. And, it's got to be better than what you did a year ago.
I agree. And Dylan Wade, if you can get him back, gives you some portability. He can play right tackle. He can play guard. I think I like him better at right tackle, to be honest, specifically if you can get that true left tackle and then find another starting guard or somebody to compete with Braden Joyner at that other inside guard position, that other interior position opposite of Jeremiah Wright.
Yeah. Cole's a member of Auburn Live. Kyle's a member of Auburn Live. Anthony and even Kevin. 4 for 4 right now, folks. Hey, if you're not a member of Auburn Live, go check us out. Perfect sale right now. Silly season has gotten silly today already. It's going to be through tomorrow. $1 for 1 week at Auburn Live on 3. Go check us out. $1 for 7 days. It'll get you through signing day into the portal season. All right, Zach, what you got?
Silly season for sure. It's only been 1 day, Jeffrey. We got people running with pitchforks already.
Yeah. It's about 12 hours old.
Love it.
No introduction needed here. 5960, you're live.
What's going on, fellas?
Another Auburn Live all 3 loyal member.
Edward, I appreciate the words last week, man.
Oh, no problem, brother. No problem, brother. You my brother, man. Good man, Cole. I love you, boy.
Appreciate it, man. Love you.
For the first time, man. This is just my opinion, and I don't want to be negative. I'm highly concerned about the future of Auburn football under the leadership of Hugh Freeze. Especially as long as he calling offense. You turn into Coach Klein too much for me.
Oh.
I told you my pet peeve this summer. You're in the Iron Bowl on the inside the 1 yard line, 3-inch line.
Yeah.
Any offense that can't get under center and get me damn not even a half a yard in the Iron Bowl, that ain't no good damn offense. I don't care what nobody says. The fact that you even called the play for Jaquez Hunter to throw a damn pass 40 yards across the field was the dumbest thing I ever seen when you just took Cam Coleman just worked their DP on the last drive. I'm going to do anything. Yeah, go back to him. What Tate doing? I mean, it's something. It's inexplicable, man. And this 25 games now. This ain't just 10 games. This 25 games. And the problem has solely been on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Edward, you know what? It was first and
third down. And you stop the other team on third down. You can't do neither one of those. You're a bad football team. Can you score in the red zone? Can you stop the other team from scoring in the red zone? Them the only stats that matter in football. Not how many rushing yards, not how many passing yards, not how many receiving yards. Can you convert on third? Can you stop the other team on third? Can you score in the red zone? Can you stop them from scoring in the red zone? You tell the players, no, he don't want to be defined by the scoreboard. Well, you're getting paid now. You're getting NIL money now. What's on that scoreboard matter to some people? I'm not saying that that's to define you, but ultimately it does. And it definitely defines you as far as how long your team will be.
Edward, what happened to you, big dog?
Yeah, we're losing
you a little bit.
Far away from the phone right now.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. You're in now.
Get out the piece and go back to my phone. But, man, there's too many games that got left on the table, and you had something that was working. Jaquez Hunter was running the ball good in the first quarter. Why go away from that? You see what I'm saying?
He was averaging
Why
8
go
yards
away
a
from
tote.
that?
Yeah.
If it's working, stick with it. And I'm just not. It's year 3, Cole. You said it. Year 3. You've been hollering year 3. Well, year 3, we gonna find out one way or another one. And tell the truth, that was not liking the makeup of the team in year 3. It ain't a for sure thing out there in the portal. You refuse to develop the 2 that you had on the roster already. So there's a lot of experience leaving. There's a lot of guys played a lot of football leaving. You're gonna be young in a lot of places. But you're gonna have to win with young guys. Because there ain't no more excuses. So y'all sell me on the future of Hugh Freeze. Sell me on why I should have hope outside of a top 5 recruiting class. That's what I want to know. Somebody sell me some hope on Hugh Freeze and why you think he the man for Auburn football. What damn you. And y'all guys have a good night.
Fair enough question. And I think some of the first of all, recruiting.
Yes.
The talent gap is narrowing with each signing class. And I also think, Alan, you brought it up earlier. You look at the losses this year, they're not getting blown out.
No.
How many one-score games? How close were you? Seriously, if we saw Peyton Thorne second half of the season, Peyton Thorne in the first half of the season, Auburn's 8-4.
Yeah, 7-5 probably at the worst, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you easily walk away with 2 more wins, maybe 3 more wins. And at 8-4, how much different does this fan base feel? Now they've probably still result being an Iron Bowl loss. You're still a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth, but you feel a little bit more solid about the way this season kind of played itself out. Much more aligned with what Vegas saw is Auburn's potential versus kind of where you fell short. Edward, what I would tell you is, and look, recruiting takes up all the oxygen in the room with Hugh Freeze right now because that's the most successful part of his administration. I mean, bar none, right? I can't sell you right now on Hugh Freeze other than the recruiting piece. To me, it's an incomplete, and I need to see the full talent acquisition picture before I can sell you because I need to know what they're going to bring into the transfer portal. I need to know what they're going to retain on the present roster. Because that's a huge piece of this, right? It's not just acquisition, it's also retention. And then I need to see what tweaks he's going to make to his staff because I agree. I do think that Hugh Freeze needs to tweak his staff some. And I'm not advocating for people to lose their jobs, but I don't believe that you can go 5-7, even with close losses, and think that everything within your building is the way that it should be. It can't just be the players. To me, that's not enough accountability. There has to be some change with the coaching staff as well. And that's a tough part of this business, right? But it's a scoreboard business at the end of the day. And you are judged on wins and losses. And to this point, you have not won enough football games not to be criticized or to think that there needs to be some level of change to bring a more consistent product to the field week after week. So once we get into February, Edward, and we have a better picture of what it's going to be moving forward, I can sell you on that. And I can understand why you're frustrated. But hang tight. Let's see what December 4th brings. Let's see what December 9th brings forward. And when we get to the conclusion of the portal and you've made whatever changes you're going to make both on the roster and within the staff, I think then we can have a real conversation about why you may or may not be encouraged about what Hugh Freeze can do moving forward as the head football coach for the Auburn Tigers.
One 899. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from? One 899. You're live.
Hey guys, this is Floyd from Cairo, Georgia.
How about you, Floyd?
Floyd.
Yeah, this is Floyd. This is I'm the guy that Cole asked about Floyd the barber.
Oh yeah,
I was about to say
exactly who I was thinking of.
Yeah, man. So listen, I just got a few things, man. I know we're all down right now because of the Iron Bowl loss and the season that Auburn's had right now. But listen, it's like Cole, the caller Cole said, the future is now. And this is when, Coach Freeze's job is really on the line right now. It started today. His job is really on the line now. How he goes, next year, the wins and losses next year and everything and stuff like that. But man, I'm telling you, some of the guys that he's recruited, I honestly believe, man, and watching some film on some of those, some of the guys and all, man, the future is bright for Auburn. Whether it's Freeze, just the coach, or anybody else, whoever is the head coach, man, the future is bright. They're bringing in top tier talent, and Auburn has lacked that for the last few years. Even with Malzahn, they've lacked the top tier talent, and I believe that's what's shown. That was shown this year and last year. But like I said, the future for Hugh Freeze started today, and what he does from here on out will define his career at Auburn. So now, with that being said, this is a good question. I think it's a good question. So if the Iron Bowl was at Auburn this year,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that it's a different ball game? If we're at home, do you think it's a different ball game?
No question.
Yes.
For sure.
Jordan Hare's worth 7 in that game.
It's a one-score game.
Yeah, and that's my wife is a huge Dogs fan, and I'm a huge Auburn fan, and I just she's back and forth and stuff like that, house of body, all that crap. So, man, we have to be competitive, to be the Auburn team that all these fans on here calling for Freeze's head and with their pitchforks and all that bull crap. Listen, it starts with recruiting. You got to get the guys in that can run your system and that can play in that system, and it's going to play Auburn football. You got to get them to believe. And I think that the guys that he has coming in, I think that's going to happen. Did we all think, in year 2, were we going to go undefeated with Peyton Thorne? And it's no knock on Peyton Thorne because he's had some good games. He really has.
Yeah.
Did we all really think that Auburn was going to go 10-2, 9-3? Possibly. But let's just
the
be
chat
real about
definitely did. We 4 did not. But
we were debating over 7 or 8 wins.
Yes.
Yeah, I had us at 7 wins, and that's and that was stretching it. That was
Sure.
stretching because the A&M game really, I thought that was going to be a loss for us. But hey, if that Auburn team showed up every Saturday in that A&M game, man, there's no telling what we could be right now. Everybody laid it out on the line, and they played their butts off. And man, like I said, I just feel like everybody's jumping on this wagon, about Freeze being fired and all this crap, man. Look, just let it go, because it's gonna be what it's gonna be no matter what. I mean, hell, if we had Saban at Auburn, who's to say we were gonna, we wouldn't have the same record? I mean, just be honest. So I just feel like, Freeze deserves one more year, and then that will tell the story of, what's going to happen to him and everything like that. But like I said, man, I think we have a bright future if we hold on to the recruiting class. I think we have a very, very, very bright future. And, my question to you guys is going to be this. With all this NIL stuff going on, all the money coming in, from On to Victory and everything, do you see those, I'm going to say investors now, because let's just say, they're not boosters, they're investors now because they're investing in kids' futures, with all this money. Do you see those guys, those folks staying in on that and making it to where we can go out and get more top tier talent out of the portal? Okay. I'll end with that, guys. And man, look, y'all, awesome job, man. I watch y'all all the time. Even if I miss a miss the Sunday night show, I watch it on Monday at work. When I'm supposed to be working, I'm watching y'all. So, I think you guys do an awesome job, man. And I'm gonna try and get to a couple games next year. Oh, one thing. So I'm from the Bainbridge area. I played football with Kirby Smart. I was on the Bainbridge High School, same team with him and his dad coach and everything. And so there's a guy, I'm not going to call his name. We're really good friends. He's something of a coach there at Auburn, and he comes home to visit and everything. And I talked to him, and a little nugget he gave me, and we all know this. I mean, I've heard y'all talking about it too. I think Cole touched on it a little bit.
Wrap it up, big dog.
Name offered his girlfriend.
Yeah.
This guy told me, inside, my source told me that Auburn's girlfriend is pushing him really, really hard to stay in state. So take that for whatever you want. But I know when I was in high school, my girlfriend told me to do something.
Yeah.
So but man, listen, I'm in on that. I know y'all got a lot of callers.
Appreciate you, Floyd.
Good job y'all did, man. And War Eagle.
All right. Appreciate you, big dog. Yes. She is a minor high school girl.
Minor high school.
So, yeah. I forgot what the question was.
I
think we kind of hit on it earlier, right?
Yeah. Are the donor base? Is the donor base going to stay committed to Hugh Freeze specifically in the NIL arena?
Yes.
Cole, the right word was backing is there, and that's what it is. The guys, the donors want Hugh Freeze to win as much as.
Okay, let me just ask a question, and this is a question to everyone who has their pitchfork in hand right now.
Yep.
Right? That's my favorite phrase.
I know where you're going, baby. I can read your mind on this one. Go ahead.
Why wouldn't you back him? He's the head coach. Do you really want Auburn not to make it? It's the question I have to ask people like that. I don't quite understand the thought process. These same people who follow recruiting, every single step along the way are the same people who want to create a black cloud over that same thing.
It's a
weird place to be.
I don't think we understand that world. Like, I can't imagine.
No, I don't.
Like, I mean, you just look back at Harston. They were not going to support him. He was not their choice. They were going. It was an uphill battle. Whereas, and that's why I thought Hugh Freeze was the perfect. Whatever the money backs, whenever alignment at Auburn. That's what everybody talks about, the alignment. Everybody's aligned. That's what they mean from the money on down.
Sure. Everybody's going to come in.
I would venture to say that even if Hugh Freeze does not make it at Auburn, for the situation you were in, he was the right hire. He brought players in. You didn't have any. Okay, and now, the way things are now, they care about their head coach, sure. But they care about money, too. And Auburn's got that. And if something happens with the head coaching position, these guys are taken care of by On to Victory and whatnot. So they probably have a better chance of keeping good players if you got good players. That makes sense.
No, yeah. And Cole, you talked about it earlier. And I want to ask a question to you guys, and then I'll kind of get into my thought here. But moving into next year, what do you think the number is that Hugh Freeze needs to win to be retained beyond season 3? I know there's so many in this chat that feel like 10 wins or playoff or something of that nature. And to me, from the people I've spoken with, it's nowhere near that.
Oh, I'll say 8.
Here's the good news. If you're let's say you get into let's not say it that way. Look at all the teams that are in playoff conversation right now.
Right.
Texas A&M just lost to a bad Auburn team on paper, right? That doesn't look good. That's a terrible loss. They probably still have a weird path to the playoff because there's so many 3-loss SEC teams, right? Well, no, they lost to Texas last night.
Yeah.
Before that, though. You see what I'm saying? There's so many 3-loss SEC teams. There's still – so what I'm saying is I think Auburn needs to be in the playoff conversation. So whatever that takes.
I'll be honest with you. From the people I've engaged with today, I don't even think it has to be that. I think a Florida 7-5, and he shows progress moving forward, and you've got a building block there at quarterback. I think he's easily in year 4, contingent on where the recruiting is. I think there's that level of commitment to get him to year 4. And I understand where the fan base is going to fall on that and how that's going to look. But I believe that level of commitment's there for him right now to see this through.
Level of commitment?
Yes.
Yes. My expectations?
Different. No, completely. My expectation and the level of commitment. So I'm
right.
kind of telling you, like, expect here, but I'm telling you, if it's down here, expect them to continue to support him so long as he's doing the other things off the field to continue to raise money for Auburn, to do the things that he needs to do in relation to various things that, he's being asked from that plate. The appearances, the other community relational things that he does that Harsin didn't do. People talk all the time about, wow, Harsin got sabotaged or this, that, and the other. He wasn't the booster's choice, and he didn't ingratiate himself to them either.
Right.
He came up, Harsin had one tool, and it was a hammer. He was going to square jaw his way through everything, right? Like it was his way or no way. Well, Hugh Freeze is
damn good coach, though.
He's a good coach at times.
I mean, because you look at the schedule, I think it has to be 8. Like I'm with Jeffrey. Your 4 out of conference games are Baylor, All State, South Alabama, and Mercer. If you're not at 4-0 through those 4 games and you can't win 4 SEC games, I think it's a wrap.
You watch.
Hey, don't forget, Alan.
7-5 gets him to the next year.
Do you know what we were harping about after Harsin's first year?
Yeah.
1-score losses.
Yeah. Same deal, right?
Interesting.
It is that.
Well, year 2 was not that way, though.
No, it wasn't.
He didn't make it through this.
But remember, after that first year, it was like, oh, man, Auburn's close. I mean, this guy, give him another year. Let's see what happens. And the longer you got from the start, the more you saw exactly all the things that you just mentioned, the failure to recruit, the failure to do this, the failure to do that. The longer you got away from the genesis is the divide just grew.
The canyon just widened, right?
It was a downward slide. At least you can say in year 2 of Freeze so far. Well, they're still close.
Absolutely. Listen, I still believe he's the right man for the job, and I don't have any doubt about that.
Were you talking? So when you were talking about what Harsin is a good coach, or were you talking about Freeze is a good?
No,
coach?
I think Harsin's a good football coach.
X's and O's, I don't disagree. I think he knows X's and O's. I think there's more to being a head coach than just that.
Oh, no doubt about it. No, I'm talking about on the field, in-game coaching.
Okay.
It's something that I'm not sold on Hugh Freeze yet.
Yeah,
A lot of the things that happened this year makes me doubt that he's as good of an in-game coach as Brian Harsin. And listen, I think Brian Harsin was a fantastic in-game coach.
Okay.
I'm not sold on Hugh Freeze in-game. The clock management, the play calls. Like Edward said, Auburn had 1st and goal from the 2 the other night. I think it was right before halftime.
Right.
And I looked at my dad and I said, I give it to Jarquez Hunter 4 times, and if they stop me 4 times, I tip my cap and go to the locker room.
Yeah.
I agree. Quick question before we move to the next caller.
And he was throwing passes. And
let's go with 8 wins, like you said, Zach. I think that's exactly in my mind the number that popped up as soon as that question hit. Does 8 wins? Does that get you in the playoff consideration? At least by, let's say you have 8 wins by.
It depends on the 8.
Yeah. Right. Let's say you start strong, you get the 8 wins, and you're going into November with 7 or 8 wins, whatever it is. I'd have to look at the schedule, see how it plays out.
I don't know, because I mean, if you go into November with 8 wins, and remember Mercer's one of the November games, so you can't lose to Mercer and keep your job.
What date is Mercer game?
Yeah.
What date is the Mercer game?
I think it's like November. It's the
one before the Iron Bowl.
Iron Bowl.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, November 22nd, so the week before the Iron Bowl. But I mean, let's say you go into November with 7 wins. Is 1-3 in the month of November with losses to probably Alabama, 2 other SEC schools, and then a win over Mercer going to keep your job?
Zach,
Auburn's beating Alabama next year. That's got to happen.
Yes. So As the SEC part of the schedule has not been dated yet, right?
We know who all the opponents are the same. Just
Right.
home
Right.
away or flip. We just don't know the dates.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It certainly needs to happen, Jeffrey. Is it got to happen for him for him to keep his job? No.
No.
Does it need to happen?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, Auburn at home next year with a new quarterback. And listen, Edward, talking about losing everything, but look at what the defense is bringing back. I'm fired up about the defense under DJ Durkin next year.
Yeah, I think
Really,
linebackers probably the one spot you're a little worried because of all the seniors that you play with Dori Mausi and a handful of others there, because you're losing a lot of experience, but you got some really nice young pieces there too.
Yeah,
you have to like getting the same SEC teams.
I know it, Cole.
So this is Auburn's SEC. This is Auburn's SEC schedule. So let's just say we go 4-0 through non-conference play. If you're saying 7 wins to bar, that means you get 5 losses in conference play. You have Arkansas on the road, Oklahoma on the road, A&M on the road, and Vandy on the road. Those are your road conference games, and you get Missouri, Kentucky, Georgia, and Bama all at home.
I mean, that's about as good of a draw you can get.
I don't know how the fan base is going to feel. Like because you're losing probably 3 or 4 home games, because I don't see you losing to Vandy, Arkansas on the road.
No, I mean, again, I hear you. And then I would say, when has Auburn ever fired a coach with a winning record in year 3? Because 7-5 is still a winning record, right?
They're not going to fire him, but it's going to be very disappointing with that schedule.
Oh, dude, no doubt. I'm not arguing that people shouldn't be disappointed. In no way. That is not the picture that I'm painting here. But as far as parting ways with Hugh Freeze, and I guess I'm trying to get it across to certain people that I think the threshold for his retention and continued building of a program is significantly lower with people that fund the said program than it is maybe to the fan base.
Then you go to a bowl game and you finish 7-6.
Now, I mean it.
Because Auburn's been really, really bad in bowl.
And you're averaging 5.5 wins a game.
I mean, I hear you, dude. I hear you.
With that schedule, you got to give me 8 wins next year. Yeah. No, listen, not if I'm the guy. I'm not firing you. I'm just saying that is the absolute floor for me next year.
Sure. And I will say this. This is the one thing I will say. And this is the thing that has gotten, I think, saved some people's jobs because of what's coming with revenue sharing and the $22 million that you've got to carve out of your athletic budget that you didn't have to account for before, right? Hugh Freeze does not have what I would call a calendar/escalator clause in his contract. So when you part ways with him, that money is dispersed over 4 years. Like with Brian Harsin and with Gus, I think Brian, you had to pay him $10 million within the first 30 days, in full $10 million. And then he was able to be paid out over the course of his contract. With Gus, it was like $12 million or something of that nature. I mean, it was a chunk that they had to come up with to part ways. Hugh doesn't have that in his contract. It is purely paid out over time. So the upfront money that you would need to part ways is not there. So if that's the decision that you make, it doesn't monetarily, it doesn't set you back like those others do from having to have that tangible piece, that financial piece in hand to be able to part ways.
All right, let's get back to the calls. Do you remember this was the call-in show? Floyd, you got us going, man.
4220. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, y'all. It's Austin from Pass Christian, Mississippi.
How about you, Austin, from Mississippi?
I'm doing well, y'all. How y'all doing tonight?
Fairly well, big dog. Talk to us.
Good. Y'all had some good callers tonight. I think it's a good thing that y'all do the show on Sunday nights because probably would be a lot more ferocious calls if they had happened last night.
No doubt.
If you read our message board, you know you're correct.
That's absolutely right. I just wanted to kind of comment. We talked a little bit, or y'all were talking just recently about how Hugh Freeze has to win the Iron Bowl next year. I just want to say that 2 Iron Bowl wins in the last 10 years is not a rivalry anymore. That's an annual ass whooping. And yeah, it absolutely needs to change next year. And that's not even talking about whatever we roll on the field against Georgia every year. So I'm tired of hearing that from my wife. She went to Georgia, and that absolutely has to stop. I need to get one on over her.
An Auburn, Georgia house in Mississippi.
But anyway, I just wanted to call and ask, like, kind of what are some sort of like extended repercussions y'all could see from the roster, or I'm sorry, from the staffing changes that y'all could foresee beyond just the, you know, the plain X's and O's, thinking specifically kind of like guys who are lead recruiters, you know, for people that we're trying to bring in, or, you know, just kind of any other extenuating circumstances that might come out of it. There's more probably to it than I'm even aware of that, you know, I can't foresee, but obviously there needs to be some staffing changes. The staff just didn't get it done and didn't put guys in the right position to win games this year. But, you know, what kind of repercussions could that have heading down the road? Thank y'all for taking my call tonight. And I will, I'm actually going to see y'all from Cameron Indoor Stadium on Wednesday night when Auburn beats Duke. So War Eagle.
All right. Nice. Does anybody want to take a stab at answering Austin's questions, which was, if I'm not mistaken, like, what are some shakeups on the staff, and how could it trickle down and maybe have an effect maybe on recruiting? Did y'all get that from him at all?
That was kind of, I think, the direction he was taking it, Jeffrey.
I don't want to. I'm not going to. What's the word?
Speculate
on coaches leaving.
No,
or players.
The only thing I've gone as far to say, look, expect changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to have that. I mean, don't think nobody's leaving. Somebody's going to leave, take an NFL job or move up. That's going to happen. That's what happens in the coaching profession.
Very rarely does the staff stick together 100%.
No, I can't find one that does. Everybody that was on staff stays together. Could you find one that did that in the past year?
In the past year? Whew.
Just going back, dating back to last year.
Well, bottom line, we're expecting some shakeup on the staff.
Yes.
I don't think we would hear about it until after signing day, which
correct.
Probably after the portal closes on the 16th. If I'm not mistaken, changes were made last year after the first of the year. That was when Crime left to go to A&M. It was when
you heard Charles Kelly. You heard about it at the bowl game.
Yes,
that was the first.
It was all late December, wasn't it?
Exactly, it was all late December, and I would suspect similar movement, unless it's a situation where there's an open coordinator spot and somebody's moving up. Say you have an ambitious piece like Josh Aldridge. He wants to be a defensive coordinator. There's an opportunity arises. He interviews. He gets that position. He's gone, right? And so they're instantly filling that spot. And I think that possibility very much exists because Josh Aldridge is looking to move up to be a coordinator. I don't believe that.
Back up. Wasn't he the coordinator at Liberty?
He was. So to move back up into that position, probably, I mean, I think the goal for him is at the Power 4 level, but if he takes a step back down to a high-end G5, I can see him doing something like that as well. The NFL just called this time last year for your defensive line coach. I don't believe anybody had that on their bingo card, right?
Jeremy Garrett, right?
Was it before signing day?
No, it was post signing day. It was right in the middle of portal season. In fact, I think you had 2 kids on campus.
Oh yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? And that news started to break.
Or was that the second window?
No, that was the junior day that he was at. That's what it was.
February the 2nd, yes.
Jeremy showed up at the junior day to let those kids know they were going to be okay because Von Trail was going to be taken over.
That was right.
February 2nd.
Second, yeah.
Yeah. So my expectation is late movement. If you have anything early, again, I think it's because somebody from Auburn staff probably left, but it's definitely going to be after signing day. Could it be in the middle of the portal cycle? Sure. Just because I think the calendar has sped up some with the coaching carousel to a degree. So maybe there'll be a little bit more churn earlier. But signing day's earlier too, right? I mean, what was signing day last year? What, the 18th, I think,
It
of
was
December?
the week before Christmas.
Right.
Or it might have been the week of Christmas.
Okay. So that in and of itself could move things up some. So you might see some churn after that, but definitely not before December the 4th. And again, I'm with Jeffrey. I don't like to speculate on names for coaches. Even if I've heard something, I'm never going to toss that out there from an Auburn angle. To me, that doesn't set good precedent. It makes it look like you're advocating for somebody particularly to be changed. I do agree with the fact that there needs to be some transition because things just didn't necessarily mesh this year. And I do believe there are some things that can be done. And Cole talked about this. It's not the scheming. It's not the play calling. It's what's going on Monday through Friday and the preparation, the practice, the execution aspect of it. You know, I think there's some decisions or judgment calls that could be done differently. And maybe it requires different personnel. Maybe it just requires a different thought process. I don't know. I could be way off on this. So I do think that some churn would be healthy, but I'm not advocating for mass change by any means.
Good stuff, Austin. Appreciate your call, big dog. The Auburn, Georgia family in Mississippi.
5013. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, fellas, it's Don down. How's everybody doing tonight?
How about you, Don?
Hey there, Jay Lee. I missed you a couple weeks ago. How are you, buddy?
Fantastic.
What I caught real quickly before we talk a little recruiting, I've already invited Cole and Alan and Zach. Me and my buddies at Jocks, your buddies Landrum and Pat Smith, we'd like to invite all y'all to the Jocks listeners' Christmas party on Tuesday,
all right.
17th, my friend.
17th? Is that at Hooters?
No, sir. Matter of fact, speaking of that, me and Pat Landon for their recruiting show, we're gonna be at Twin Peaks again.
Oh, y'all got back together, did you?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm helping them, and I don't know if you guys know or not, but I was on TV in Birmingham yesterday.
Really? Were you a stand-in, an extra?
Yeah, the show's called The Starting Lineup with Tony Curry, Kip Keeper, and the good old crazy Alabama guy legend.
Oh,
how about that? Don's famous.
Yeah. Legend is a character. Let me tell you, and I know y'all know that with his rants when Alabama loses, but no, guys, we'd love to have y'all. We're Pat Landrum put me in charge of that and everything, and so we would love to have you guys come to Birmingham that day. And it's at the place where they did the remote J-Lay, where I'm up there with them when they have you on their social taco in Homewood.
Okay. All right, I've got it written down. December 17th at Hooters.
And, looking forward to signing day. I know y'all going to have a long day on Wednesday, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be honest with you, Don. National Signing Day is my favorite.
Monday and Tuesday are going to be worse.
Yeah, Wednesday's easy, like Cole said. Monday and Tuesdays are the worst. Yes, we're going to start. We're going to do our signing day live show.
Your article on the corner about Donovan Starr, does it look like we're losing him?
Yeah, the intel I got today, it sounds like I would give Alabama a slight edge right now. Now it's not over, but I would give Alabama a slight edge and have the chance to flip him right now.
Well, that leads into my question. You always end up losing a couple of the week of signing day. Do you have a surprise guy that you think we're going to get to? And hopefully we'll get Overford if we lose Donovan Starr. That would hopefully Overford will replace him. But you guys got any prospects you think could be a signing day surprise?
You know, Don, somebody asked me this on the corner earlier today, and I mean, what do you consider a surprise? Like, we don't know about him. We haven't heard about him.
Don't know about it. I think Cole mentioned a offensive lineman to look at.
Okay, there you go.
I was going to mention him, and that's somewhat speculation by me because I know they've brought him in 2 to 3 times this year, one for a game, maybe 2 games. I have to go back and look. But he just decommitted from UCF. His name's Chaston Brown. Excellent frame on this guy. He's got to gain some weight. I mean, this is a guy it's going to take some time for him to get there. But you can't build a better offensive tackle frame. Saw him in the Under Armour camp. I know Auburn's been keeping him warm. So I wanted to put his name out there. We'll see what happens there. might be somebody to watch. That could be somebody for sure.
Yeah, Warner Robins, Georgia. Right?
Okay. One last thing, Alan, question for you, my friend. Looking at the transfer portal and the quarterbacks, I'm hearing two names, and I want to see what you think about these two quarterbacks.
Sure.
One is the kid from Arizona. I believe his name's Fajita, and then Mateer from Washington State. If you had to choose between those two, which one would you pick, Alan?
It's Mateer all day, every day, and twice on Sunday, big dog. Really impressed. I think he fits well within what Hugh Freeze is trying to accomplish on offense. Power running game, enough athleticism that you can feature the quarterback run some if you want to. So it adds that extra hat to the box. Really good arm talent, can stretch the field vertically. And I think he's a pretty good decision maker. He plays in an RPO heavy scheme right now for a underrated offensive coordinator that I think is going to be on the rise in Arbuckle at Washington State. Is it Ben Arbuckle? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Zach.
I believe that's right.
But a guy that's his scheme is not too dissimilar from what we do here at Auburn. I don't know they necessarily feature the run as much, but a guy that I think fits in very well and somebody that's got exposure to the kind of concepts that you want to utilize here within the Hugh Freeze scheme. So for all the points that I just listed, and I think he's valued by other teams too, I'll be honest with you. John Mateer is a name that's out there that I think a lot of people are interested in should he enter the transfer portal.
Okay. Good stuff, Don. I appreciate you calling, big dog. I got that marked down on my calendar. See what I can do.
5202. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Well, this is Darren down in Niceville, Florida. How about them Niceville Eagles moving on?
Eli Stove country.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Darren,
And,
I feel like you always are the last caller.
He times it.
Wildcats in the Final Four. Thompson did beat us, but hey, made the Final Four. Cole said we'd be all right, and we were. I'll take that Enterprise.
That's a well-coached Enterprise team. Ben Blackman over there doing a great job. Eric Winters.
Yeah, he is.
Eric Winters is a game changer. So when you got one of those, yeah, there's a chance.
Well, there you go. Right. So he's not really making excuses, is he? I mean, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Notre Dame, they've been stacking top 10, top 15 classes for years. Not a year, but years. So is he really whining and making excuses? That's a question. I'm just asking.
How's that weather down
you
there?
tell me, because I look at the depth. Look, do we have chances to win? Am I an Auburn guy? And I was sitting in California game. I'm at Oklahoma game. I drove to Missouri for a 50-second loss in the game. I don't think he's making excuses. I love his transparency when he gets into.
I see it.
I should have done something different. This, that, and is there dumbass plays? He says, look, we should have coached it better. I don't think the play for the halfback pass was the right call. Absolutely. I mean, even me that's never played college ball, not one down, knows that was a bonehead call. But is he not telling the truth that we do not have that kind of talent stacked up at Auburn?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's being honest from that standpoint, sure.
It's a point, Darren, that it's like, okay, maybe you don't like what he said, but can you call it a lie, right?
No.
Hey, I sit in the stands, protect A&M. Y'all, it was electric blast. Absolutely top of the mountain. This week, bottom of the mountain, right? Yep. Because we know A&M was a big win, but Alabama and Georgia are our foes, and that's the ones and y'all were talking about earlier. Is 7 wins or 8 wins going to be enough? Yes. You win against the right teams. Do you beat Georgia or Alabama in there? You fire and freeze? Who do you go get? That's my next question. Who are you going to get? Who out there do you think is the next Nick Saban, and who called in a while ago? I'm sorry, Floyd, keep cutting hair. Nick Saban's, if he walks in at Auburn, that roster's going through the roof tomorrow. I mean, really? If Nick Saban was here, we'd have the same number? No, sorry. That's not happening. And guys, do you not see it on the field? DeBoer is losing control of those players really, really fast on the field. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're probably wrong on that one. I'll be the one to say it.
Ooh. Get in here, Zach.
I mean, we just got done seeing 10 brawls yesterday. Are you going to say every head coach that had a skirmish doesn't have control of his team? Like,
I'm not talking about every school. No, I'm not talking. But Alabama's not been that school. Alabama's been a different standard. We've seen stuff in other places. I mean, I've even watched the Alabama players become pros and get in trouble and things happen, but not really at Alabama, right? I mean, Saban was the standard. I'm sorry, guys. I'm an Auburn guy through and through, but Saban set a different standard through and through, and that was also the discipline of the guys on the team.
I think that's fair. Do I think Kalen's losing that team? I don't know about that, but do I think Saban was the ultimate disciplinarian and taskmaster and had that team in lockstep with what he wanted to do? Hell yeah.
Well, yeah,
there's no question about that.
That's the stark difference you see in this team, because that team had a chance to beat Auburn by 50 Saturday. They had a chance to go up by 3 scores or 2 scores, whatever it was, and they decided to run a reverse. I'm like, dude, why did y'all do that? What was that? You had you're fixing to step on the throat, and you did what people claim Hugh Freeze does and pulled back. Like, no.
All right.
That's not the Alabama of old, right?
Let me play devil's advocate here, because I think I'm in the vein of what Darren's trying to say. Saban is him, right? To steal the line from Deion, he's him. Okay. Is Kalen DeBoer more Ryan Day? Does he have, you know what I mean? Is he going to be able to take that championship level step like an Urban Meyer? Does he have that within him? I think that's a fair question.
Me too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see, and yes, it's year one, and you never want to put too much on a year one, right? Because a lot of growth happens between 1 and 2. And so I think it's fair to give him a little bit of a larger sample size. But watching Ryan Day yesterday lose to Michigan for the 4th time and then watch his team lose control and fight on the field after that was over, you talk about a tenure that feels like it's done.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Who would have ever thought that we'd see a coach get fired with less
I don't
than
think he's
10
there. You're right. You're right, Alan. It's not to that point by all means. But as an Auburn guy, 5 years in a row, I'm an old guy, so I mean I remember Bear 9,
sure,
back and forth to Tuscaloosa every year, right? So I remember that. But over the top, we finally break that, and we finally get it back in Auburn. I remember 6 in a row with us. Sitting in Destin yesterday in Emerald Coast Auburn Club and in Gulf Coast Burger in Destin Commons. Destin Commons, great spot, by the way. Mike, the owner, solid Auburn guy. And a young man's probably 8 or 10 years old, and he's cheering for Alabama. He knows no different. Auburn has not given the youth something to look forward to.
Fair.
And that's tough for me as an old guy to swallow, that they don't know the Tuberville 6 in a row anymore. Those days are gone. All they see is the Nick Saban and now Kalen DeBoer. Gosh, we needed something, right? And we need that light to shine. And I don't think talking about Freeze losing his job after next year. Alan, I hope you're right. I hope that's the buy-in, that if he does go 7 and he gets that key win again over, whoever it is. I mean, I like to set up the schedule next year. I really do. You guys, all 4 of y'all, Zach, everybody, y'all really hit this number this year, ceiling and basement, dead on. Y'all did a great job. I was thinking when I'm sitting games sometimes, I'm thinking, man, they know their shit. They really know what they're talking about, and they know the game to the aspect that not only are y'all knowledgeable about the plays in the offensive defensive line, but y'all really talk to it to a point that y'all want Auburn to be that 10 or 12, but you are realist and you understand, and it's not a homer like me that's a big barner that's sitting here going, man, I feel like we can win 10 this year. but I felt like a Cam Ward this year. I mean, I felt like a Cam Ward type quarterback would have got us to 8 or 9 wins this year. Don't y'all?
Yes. Cam Ward is certainly worth 2 to 3 victories on that schedule for sure.
I think the
I feel
reason
like we were
why
a better team than Miami too, stacked top to bottom, talent wise. So it's tough. It's tough. You know,
Better
coaching
defense for
again.
sure.
Look at Cristobal. I'm not a big Cristobal fan. Sorry. I get it, but just not a big fan. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank y'all, and y'all nailed it. And I'm looking forward to basketball and moving on. I think that's what we have to lean our hat on. I believe next year, I'm always the belief that we will get better. I think Hugh's concept. I've seen a lot of guys this year in games running wide open and moving and this, that, and the other, and just the wrong thing happening. I think Peyton Thorne's a really good character, human being, person, but I don't think he's a SEC quarterback for Auburn or anybody. And I think that's what we got to find. And I don't know that Deuce Knight can come in and be that savior from a freshman point of view.
Yep.
I saw where already Ganier's finally transferring out. I'm surprised he hasn't earlier. But, you know, guys, thank y'all.
Hey.
War Damn Eagle. And I hope y'all have a great I'm headed to Nashville tomorrow, snow or whatever. But I want to say thank y'all, and I appreciate y'all, and y'all were dead on, and I love y'all's analysis. Thank y'all.
Man, appreciate you, Darren.
Thank you, Darren. And
I need to find out where to send that check.
I'm telling you, that's a hell of an endorsement deal right there. But no, Darren's too kind, and War Eagle to you too, brother. But Mario Cristobal, if you're Hugh Freeze, the gift that keeps on
giving. You love some Mario, don't you?
Hell yeah. the ultimate teach tape. Kicking field goals when you needed 7, baby. Call it the untimely timeouts. I mean, if you wanted to do a blooper reel of shit you should never do in a game from an in-game management standpoint, Mario's all on it. Every bit of it, dude.
That Georgia Tech game alone last year had 6 moments where it was like you should have been fired on the field.
That was the most embarrassing moment in college football I can think of. That was
especially because he did it at Oregon the year before he got to Miami. So it was like 2 years in a row you made this. Yeah, he did the same thing with the timeouts against at Oregon and lost the game.
Gosh, jeez.
He needs the Joe Judge on the sideline with the analytics book, right? You know what I mean? Just come over like, hey, Mario, I think we should do this. You know what I mean?
I think that even makes the point I was going to make even stronger. So a coach like that has those kind of issues could create a disconnect with players, quarterback, right?
Sure.
Cam Ward is exempt from that, dude. He don't give a rip. Hey, okay, well, whatever. I'll make the play. I don't care. You know, that's the one thing I felt like, among other things, Peyton Thorne, that was the biggest thing with him. You know, I don't trust you. You don't trust me. And now it's all discombobulated because of that. I don't necessarily blame him for lack of trust at times. I don't necessarily blame Hugh Freeze for lack of trust in him at times. But you need a guy that's going to go, I don't care. I'm fixing to make a play.
There has to be that level of confidence that he's going to go out there and raise the play of the other people around him, right? And with Peyton, I think he is a good quarterback. I honestly do. I think there are a lot of things from an in-game management standpoint that Peyton Thorne does well, but there's a lot of inconsistency in his game. Maybe that's self-created. Maybe that's some of the pieces around him. I don't know everything, okay? But I do know that there was a disconnect at various times. Ball placement wasn't good at times. His eyes weren't in the right spot at times. So there are parts of his game that caused issues. Again, great kid. I am forever that Texas A&M game. He won some respect from me, and I think people need to kind of, as he starts to move away from this team, remember the good things. Let's not continue to chastise Peyton Thorne. Turn the page. It's time to move on to a degree, but good kid, played hard, and I'm glad he's going to graduate from Auburn, get his degree, and move on.
Fantastic call from Darren. He was right, dude. We had a great show tonight. We had some really good callers with some unique points of view and good points and good questions. I thought it was fantastic. Kevin from Wilmer, 12-0, big dog. 2025, here comes Auburn. Anthony from Montgomery, always nice hitting that 2 spot. Kyle from Gardendale, how about them Rockets, big dog? Cole from Noonan, Edward from Selma, Floyd from Cairo, Austin and his Georgia wife in Mississippi, Don, and Darren from Niceville. I will like to say, listen, we're going full recruiting mode at this point.
Yes.
Auburn's got the number 5 class in the country as we speak, and potential to add some more. We're going to be doing all of that for signing day, covering all the news and flips and potential flips and whatnot. We're going to have a YouTube Plus, Auburn Life Plus recruiting show. We're going to record it tomorrow night. We're going to have it up Tuesday morning. We're going to go into some really good details, some behind the scenes stuff. If you haven't already subscribed to Auburn Live on 3, it comes with that membership. You can get it for $1 for a week right now, the silly season sale. Go check it out, Auburn Live on 3, $1 for 7 days. That'll get you through signing day and into transfer portal. But we're going to have that Auburn Live Plus YouTube recruiting show Tuesday morning. Then Wednesday morning, we're going to be going live at 6 a.m. Central Time. We're going to give you some unique views of signing day from our eyes, some POVs, point of view, some behind-the-scenes stuff as signing day gets underway Wednesday morning. One more time for Roback. If you haven't already, go check out Roback, big dog. Check out that Auburn 20. Use that promo code Auburn 20 to get 20% off. Performance polo shorts and shirts with that code Auburn 20. Also Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group. Give her a call 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you. And that's going to do it. We've had a fantastic show. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Cole, for Zach in the back who came to the front, for Alan Head, I'm Jeffrey Lee. Man, y'all stay that left lane. See ya.